Hi students, I wanted to kind of talk to you guys a little bit through the organization of the ad analysis essay. And so to do that, I'm going to go through the two samples which are posted to Blackboard currently. These are samples that I wrote. One is over a print ad and one is over a TV ad. The one over the print ad is over this ad you're currently seeing on screen right now. It's for Lowe's patio furniture, and it features an African-American couple. It says rekindle an old flame with a couple of new ones. So if we go down, the heading for it is going to be written to the name of your audience, which is the company which is advertising, from your name, date, the date, short for regarding, and then the title, the subject line, whatever you put in the subject line, to whom it may concern. You're going to have an introductory paragraph which kind of introduces you. Who are you? What are you doing? For this paper, you are working as an ad consultant. So you've been hired to look at the ads for the company and basically give them an idea of how their ads could be better. Your main point in this paragraph is to just kind of give some context, tell them why you're writing to them, what your job is, what the purpose of the essay is. When you get to the end of it, you can also give a little more context, specifically what ad you'll be writing about, and an indication of your thesis. So for instance, the ad that you've asked me to look at appeared in the April 2008 issue of Black Enterprise. It is attempting to bring customers into your store to buy grills and lawn furniture. That gives some context, what specific ad they're referring to. This is a good strategy, as Lowe's is often stereotyped as being a store which appeals mostly to men. While this appeal to an audience is great, you can sell to a new audience while also retaining a connection with your earlier audience. I think the ad is successful at selling to the intended audience, but could reach a broader audience with just a few changes. So the things you should answer in your thesis statement: is the ad successful? What will you be suggesting for changes? Are you going to be suggesting a new audience, or are you going to suggest that they change the ad to fix it for the current audience? Following that, you're going to have a small section heading which says description of the ad. Following the description of the ad section heading, what you need to do is give a thorough, detailed description of what's shown in the advertisement. Start with kind of what's the main thing you see when you first look at it, and then take the reader through it as you view it. You might think about the format of it. The first specific detail, it describes it. The man is below her, considering the ad from the perspective of the Z format layout. So you want to use spatial clues. Spatial organization means you organize a paragraph based on where things are on a page. So when you're describing something, you would describe things at the top, at the bottom, on the left, on the right. That would be spatial organization. It would be using those clues to let the reader know where things are on a page. So as you can see, it's about a 3/4 of a page, half to 3/4 of a page description of the ad. In the analysis section, this starts off with a short paragraph which kind of reemphasizes who the audience is. This seems to be selling to upper middle class blacks because it appears in Black Enterprise. The subject's race and overall sense of the elegance support this. The ad seems to be selling specifically to women because the woman in the ad is looking directly towards the camera and is thus the ad's main focal point. So it reemphasizes who the audience is, and then it also gives a bit of a preview of what the rest of the ad analysis section will be over. In this case, the advertisement makes a strong appeal to women's desire for dominance over their man, as well as their need to escape. The topic sentence of the next paragraph: in Advertising's 15 Basic Appeals, Jim Fallows describes the desire to dominate as the craving to be powerful. So I know the first topic I'm going to talk about is dominance, and then I've got dominate in this right in the first sentence here. So that ties in very clearly with a strong topic sentence that relates back to the forecasting statement. After stating what dominate is the topic, it gives a brief definition of that. In this advertisement, the woman is very much in control of the situation, which shows her power. So I'm defining dominance as being in control, as having power. Then it gives some specific details from the ad itself. She's facing the camera, which is a sign of her confidence. she comes across as especially confident compared to her man, who's faced away from the camera. She's at the top of the patio, but he's below her. That brings her to the elevated position. So it gives a detail. It explains how it shows her power, it shows her dominance. It goes on and continues to give more details. The next paragraph, another appeal Fowles discusses is the need to escape, which ties directly into the second part of the forecasting statement. Again, it gives a very brief kind of definition of it. While Fowles says this is often used in ads with one person, it works in any ad that is marketing to people who seek rest and relaxation. As an example, he cites McDonald's slogan, "You deserve a break today." So now we see this woman taking a break from cooking because her man is bringing her the food while she relaxes on the patio. And it gives lots of details to show things that are relaxing. Both the appeal to dominance and the appeal to escape strongly draw the interest of strong-willed, corporate-minded working women who seek power, prestige, and a man to serve them. So we get a brief kind of summary of what the analysis says. So after the analysis, you'll have another section heading for recommendations for changes. Following that, what you want to do is you have a couple options. If the ad is successful, you can suggest a new audience for it. You had a good ad. It's really good at reaching the audience you're trying to reach, but you can also reach different audiences. And here's what you might want to change in order to reach a different audience. If the ad's unsuccessful, you can keep the same audience. Your ad seemed to be marketing towards teenage boys, but it didn't do a very good job because of A, B, and C. Here are the things you would change that would make it market better to teenage boys. In this case, it says that the ad was successful. It points out that, it's well matched to the audience of the publication, which is really good. And then it says the ad could work in a broader range of publications if racial diversity were introduced. Also, it seemed to have a wider appeal if the realism of the grill were enhanced. So we've got a couple things there. One is it's going to look at race and making the race broader, and also enhancing the realism of the grill in order to help sell that. So one thing it could change is having her table be beside the grill so that the man could stand next to her and they'd be on a more equal footing. Instead of having her be above him. It also talks about adding more people into the ad. It's got this romantic aspect, but if you remove the romantic aspect and you add in more people of other races, it would look like they're having a party in their backyard. So it explains, here's how this would help sell to a different audience. It also talks about how they might change the grill. If the text about flames didn't call attention to it, the audience might not even notice it's there. The grill is closed. It hasn't been used. He's giving her food, which has not been cooked, that's served cold. So it kind of gives some ideas there on how they could improve the ad. Following the recommendations for change, you don't need a separate section heading, but just give a brief paragraph kind of concluding, thanking them for their time. Hopefully the above suggestions are worth your investment in my services. I believe that if you take my proposed suggestions under advisement and redesign the ad, then you will be able to reach a much broader audience. So that's basically what you want to try to achieve. This is the second sample essay that's up there. It is for a ad for IBM Computers Watson Artificial Intelligence Program. As you can see, it's got a very similar heading. Instead of "To Whom It May Concern," it has Mr. Iwata. Mr. Iwata is the Vice President of Marketing and Communications. So I just looked up a little more information about the company. This is, I know that unveiling Watson is an exciting moment for IBM, so thanks to them. Give some context. Why are they putting this ad out? to get a leg up on the competition with Apple. It's an important marketing strategy. It talks again about who the audience for it is. The ad features famous songwriter Bob Dylan interacting with the Watson technology, but it's featured during Monday Night Football and since then with baseball playoff games, so it seems to be targeting American sports fans, arguably older white male sports fans, given that Bob Dylan is included. While the ad seems to be generating a good deal of buzz, I'm not convinced it's accomplishing what you need. So the thesis says this ad does not work. Later in the memo, I will offer you my suggestions for how you, as the head of marketing, could better serve your company. So the description, one thing that's different in this, a lot of it's similar. It starts off with the setting. In the center of the picture, along the left, about a third of the way in from the left, right here, we get about a third of the way in from the left. So there still tends to be a lot of spatial for what's shown on the screen. But there's also a lot of chronological organization. As Bob Dylan, wearing a suit and bow tie and carrying a guitar, starts to come in from the right of the screen, on language appears in a light blue font. As this happens. So it gives an idea of this happens, the next thing that happens. And basically gives kind of a narrative. So it has some spatial elements. It describes what's on the screen, where on the screen, but it also tells when things are going on. And that makes it a little bit different. Again, following the description of the ad, which is a little bit longer because describing multiple images shown over 30 seconds is going to take longer. When you get to the analysis of the ad, again, you've got a section heading. Again, a very brief kind of introductory paragraph. This one focuses on, while netting a major star like Bob Dylan to do an ad for Watson may seem to be a major victory, it may also be a weakness. It has a weak tie to the target audience of sports fans. A spokesman with limited appeal and the lack of a sellable product contribute to this problem. And because I don't spend as much time focusing on audience in that first short paragraph as I do in the other one, because the next paragraph is all going to be about a weak tie to the audience. So that means I will need to discuss audience there. Advertising during Monday Night Football and playoff games makes it seem as though IBM is targeting sports fans, but this ad does nothing to tint them. So it ties directly to the target audience and how this does not relate to them. It relates to music fans instead. And then it talks some about how it doesn't really work. Using Dylan as a spokesman is sometimes risky. Many people would recognize and respect his name, but few people would recognize him by his appearance, and by 5 seconds into the ad, his name is gone from the screen. If viewers miss those first few seconds, many of them are going to have no clue who the old man they see on the screen is. So it goes through and explains that. It includes a source. Further, as Kim Sheehan points out in Third Age in Advertising, once a product has been marketed to old people, it is nearly impossible to market it to younger people. So we get some integration of source there. Finally, no product is advertised in the product, which goes right back to our forecasting statement, and it explains how Watson is not a product, and uses a source to back that up as well. Then we get the suggestions for change. This one's a little bit different because the ad does not work. So basically, instead of saying you need to change the ad for a new audience, it redesigns it. Here's what you could do for the current audience, or if you wanted a different audience altogether. A commercial could be created where Watson is coaching a team and where it claims to be able to watch 80 million hours of game footage a second. That would be a good way to tie it to the target audience. I hope you found this useful and that it gave you some information about how to organize. Thank you for your time.